Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know that I feel good doing things I never thought I
Hey
could.
there, and thanks for joining Grow on Purpose, where we get to speak with some of the very best in our industry growing their business, believe it or not, on purpose. I'm your host, Abby Waltz, the National Director here at Homes for Heroes, and I am joined by a very special guest. I am honored to have here Mario Gonzalez, real estate specialist extraordinaire out of Jacksonville, Florida. Mario, as you can see, is our number one real estate specialist team. He has been for 5, if not 6 years running, if I'm not mistaken. I think ever since we started our team category. Mario, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, Abby. It's a pleasure to be here. So,
Yeah, well, I'm super excited for this conversation that we're going to have about growing on purpose and how you've really grown your own brokerage and business to be at the height of your game and at the height of your industry as well. But before we jump in to that, I've known you for over a decade now, which is a little scary
it's
to
crazy.
admit.
Crazy. Yeah.
And while I've had the pleasure of getting to know you and learning your story, I know many of our listeners have not. And I just find your background incredibly fascinating. So if you could just take a few short moments to share a little bit about Mario Gonzalez before he got into real estate, that would be amazing.
Sure. I don't know how far back we'll go. I enlisted when I was 17 years old. I enlisted into the Navy. It was a big story before that, too. But plowed my way through many years, getting to basically getting to the point where I could fly. So that was always a dream of mine. I mean, I saw Top Gun when I was a kid. I mean, who didn't love that? So I wanted to fly and ultimately got to go to the Naval Academy, which is crazy. I was like the dumbest guy at the Naval Academy, but made that through and started flying in the early 90s, I guess, and finished up my career 24 years. And I flew the Navy's equivalent of the Black Hawk helicopter. So did some cool things in that. I can't talk about it on there. No, I'm just kidding. No, but it was awesome. I enjoyed it. I think I have no idea where 24 years went. I really don't. In the back, it's just there somewhere in the rearview mirror. But really enjoy it, and that's really the service that I had towards the nation is really what spurred me into kind of the real estate to continue to go on and help people just buy and sell homes as they went. So kind of a unique time when I got into real estate too, but we don't have to go into that. But yeah, I enjoyed my time in the Navy, and now I enjoy helping serve people here on this side.
Oh, I love that. First and foremost, thank you for your service.
Yeah,
And I'm sure you have some incredible stories, which we could talk about for hours, but that's next time you see Mario, you can ask him yourself about those just to keep this going forward for sure. Um, you've had quite a success record, both here at Homes for Heroes, and I know in even your local and state level real estate market there in Florida with us. I know you've, like I said, earned the number one spot 5 or 6 years running now. You are part of our 1,000 Heroes Serve Club, just one of three, just two of real estate specialists that have joined there, which is just extraordinary. You are helping on average 250 heroes year over year. And that's just your hero business. That's not your entire business there at your brokerage. I mean, you've given back nearly $3 million to your local. I could go on and on and on about all of your success stories for sure. Um, but I won't because I know you hate that.
too kind. You're too kind.
But honestly, what do you attribute your success to?
Um, well, one, as I thank the Lord for the opportunity to do what I do to help people, and honestly, it's just one hero at a time. You have the little catchphrase to thank every hero, and I don't really think about the numbers. It's about relationships. Every single person has a story, and I just do my best to help them to the utmost of my ability. Buying and selling a home, it sounds so simple, but oftentimes it's not. And to know that we're giving back, not just in service, but in deed and a little bit from our wallet as well, it helps really go a long ways. In many ways, it does. So just that same simple thing, just to approach people more than a paycheck. We're not chasing commissions. I want to know, how can I best help this person or persons with whatever their need is, buying and selling. And that, being able to stand out, afterwards with that big check, and to show them that, they got a couple extra $1,000 just to say thank you for what they've done and their sacrifices they've made to our, community or our country. That's awesome. And that charges my batteries every single day. So doing that simple thing, just focusing on the hero that's in front of me and just process repeating, that has been really the foundation of the success. And then building from that is just finding like-minded people. We're in the middle of 3 military bases here in Jacksonville, so we're very thankful that, we have a little place in Pensacola too. There's a couple of Navy bases over there, but to find the right people that care more about the people than they do their commission check, that's truly, really, the core. And then, what is really what we based our foundation and our success on. And that's true with everybody with the Homes for Heroes. I mean, I haven't met one person that's associated with the Homes for Heroes brand, if you will, that is not worried about the person. I mean, because every single one of them is worried about, I say worried about, concerned, cares for that person. And that's really the foundation of the success.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems so fundamental and so basic, but it's so true, caring about that other person. It's not just a number or transaction. It is somebody trying to find a home.
It sure is. It sure is. Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
lot of people's, the largest transaction they'll ever make in their life, the largest item that they're ever buying. So to show that you truly care about it, and just to help them, especially with a lot of military folks that we see that they're coming over here and they don't even have a chance to see the home. So they're seeing it sight unseen, or the exact opposite. They have to sell a home after they've already transitioned on, and they're out in Guam or Japan or whatever, and we're handling things on this end. So it's very important.
Yeah. So Mario's being super humble here, people. Super humble. Before we get into your local market and kind of what that looks like in the landscape of that, I do want to ask a couple follow-up questions for that. Did you start out as a solo agent when you first
I
came?
did. Mhm.
Okay. And now you own multiple offices, correct?
Two. Well, we'll be.
Multiple.
It sounds awesome. Yeah, two. Yeah.
Um, is it as simple as just focusing on the person in front of you, or how have you transitioned from solo agent to broker owner to now overseeing a couple of different offices and mini agents?
Sure. So I'll tell you how the transition happened. It first just happened as I was helping as many people as I could. Then it got to the point where I needed some help. I was still actually active duty when I started my real estate business, if you will. So it got to the point where I was just doing things. I do things after hours, and I was in the Navy while I was here. And then it got to the point where people were calling during the day. So I had to hire an assistant to take phones and kind of help administratively. And she would punch things into my calendar and then get off from work, and then I'd go handle that. So after that grew, then I needed, help kind of with other people showing. Like, I couldn't show all the homes that people wanted to see. So I had to basically bring in another buyer's agent, or, that's, typically how we build. And that's what I did. It was a friend of mine who had done a lot of handyman work, and he was a great guy. I knew his heart. And I said, look, have you thought about getting a real estate license? So I then trained him from square one. And then it was just process repeat. As we needed more people to show homes, we got more buyer's agents. As we needed more administrative help, I needed a lot of help. So I just would hire another admin person, if you will. And then it got to the point where, we manage a lot of homes too. So in the property management realm, because a lot of military people will hang on to their home as an investment. So we serve that as well. So then I needed some, accounting help, if you will. So bookkeeper came. So the team just continued to grow, really, to serve who we were serving and the number of people we were serving. So as the numbers continued to increase, we just kept increasing the team. But I will tell you, the hardest thing is finding the right people. That's why we don't have right now more than just the 2 offices. I have people all the time that are calling from California or Norfolk, Virginia, big military folks, and say, hey, we'd love to start up here. And it's a matter of finding the right people to build the team around, really. So, but yeah, just kind of one person at a time there as the need demanded, if you will.
That's great. Kind of a natural progression, just because you were standing on a really solid foundation, for sure.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love that. All right, let's hop into Jacksonville, Florida, and your area. in the market there. Have you seen a change over the last 2 years between COVID and higher interest rates and what the market looks like? And if so, give us the lay of the land of what the real estate landscape looks like for you there locally.
Sure, absolutely. If I went back like pre-COVID and I said, "Hey, what's the average price of a house?" Our median sale price pre-COVID was in the 200s, like 220 to 230s. Now it's over $100,000 more than that. The median sale price is around 350, 370, depending upon when you look. So the market, the price of homes have gone up, the price of rents have gone up, interest rates have gone up. So we've seen just in the last year what a lot of the areas are seeing, if you will. We see that the home prices now have kind of flattened out a little bit. Some areas are trending slightly down, but for the most part, they're just kind of flattening out. And then even though they're flattening out, we see the number of sales actually going down. So we have more homes on the market. The overall volume of sales has gone down because the interest rates have gone up. So the average person, even though they're qualified for about the same payment, if you will, the amount of home that they could have bought 2 years ago was much bigger than they could now. I'll kind of give you an example just of a snapshot. At the beginning of 2022, we had one of our bankers just do a quick analysis, and they said, okay, $400,000 home. They looked at everybody that had bought a home in 2020 or 2020 and 2021. They took everybody who'd already closed, and they said, how many of these people would qualify at then that like the 2022 interest rates? And it was nuts. So 80% of the people that had already closed in homes would not even qualify for the home that they
Wow.
purchased. So those changes have really kind of slowed down the buyers, if you will, but we're still getting good qualified buyers. And we're kind of in the interest rates where we were pre-COVID, and people have adjusted to that. So they realize, hey, it's still a good time to buy a home. As a seller, it's still a good time to sell a home. In the grand scheme of things, there's always a purpose of, if you're a buyer, you could potentially refinance in the future or whatever. But from a buyer standpoint, they have a lot more inventory to look at now. So they're not as rushed as they were during the COVID years when you just had to buy whatever's there, and selling homes is very easy. So I tell you, it has made it more challenging for real estate agents. We're seeing real estate agent numbers now going down. So people are finally getting out of the business because it's not as easy as it was. But
Right.
yeah, but the real estate market is still strong in the grand scheme of things. It's just flattened out price wise a little.
And what does that look like for your business?
So with the majority of our folks being military, it's interesting. It kind of compounds it in a couple of different ways. Even though they have a VA loan, so it's basically a zero money down, the higher interest rates are really limiting what they can get. So most military folks, I don't know if you know this, or I don't know if your whole audience know this, but the military gives them a housing stipend, and that housing stipend can be used to either buy or rent a home, which is fantastic for military members. But what it is it's buying less of a home and renting less of a home. So we're seeing a lot of our military families that have 2 or 3 kids not being able to afford a home close enough to them that's the size that they would have just a couple of years ago. So a lot of those folks are opting, one, not to buy, but then they're forced to rent a smaller home than they would just a couple of years ago, because the rent prices are also going up. So the delta in there is that housing allowance, that would have to, it has to really follow the market, and it hasn't necessarily done that. It's lagging behind. So they're still kind of in the housing allowance amounts that they were a few years ago, even though the prices of rent and buying have both gone up.
Interesting. That's something that we haven't heard on the show quite yet. And I know there's hundreds of military markets across the country, across the world, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Twofold question. How are you helping your military clients navigate this new landscape?
Sure.
And two, what are you as a real estate professional trying to do to maybe enact change or get them what they need?
Sure. So two questions there. The first is, let me kind of go back to the, how are we navigating this as a real estate agent, and that will kind of tie into, how we're helping them. So how we navigate it is we try and stay as informed as we can of the other housing programs that are out there. Like here in Florida, we have basically a first-time buyer program. Now, even though military is buying, no money down, they still have to come some money out of pocket. And we have a lot of those people that are also thinking about, hey, maybe I'll take some of this first-time housing allowance money that helps them with both their down payment, closing costs, that type of stuff. So they can squeak out maybe a little bit more of a home. But what we're seeing a much larger impact is the people that are renting homes. So we have military members they bought during the last couple of years and they have a very low interest rate. And they realize that they can probably rent a little bit less and still make a profit and help the military community rent into this home. So you follow that, right? Rather than charging a really high rent, which, hey, we profit off of that, we should charge a higher rent. No, these folks are actually charging a little less in the rent to allow their military, compadres to rent a home that's like kind, so they don't necessarily have to profit too much. They see it in turn as helping.
Wow.
We've also had folks that have sold homes, and when we were in the crazy like multiple offer range, they get 3 or 4 homes and they'd say, you know what, we want this to go to a military member. So not violating fair housing in any way, shape, or form, because it's not, race, color, religion, and that stuff. They'll say, no, this is a military family, and we understand the extraordinary circumstances oftentimes that they have. And there's people that will sell specifically to a military family. We've even seen people sell for less money to a military family. And so we get to be kind of conduits of all that. So I know I'm kind of hitting both of your questions.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of finding the right people, the right homes, and doing everything that we can on our end to make those ends meet. And there's plenty of times where we give up even more of a commission rather than just the bonus that we give back, or that rebate that we give back to help folks through Homes for Heroes. Our agents will even times give more back just to make the ends meet. And again, it's very humbling from my seat to see our agents do that, because they're, again, more worried about the people than they are the commission.
Oh, that could not be a better segue into my next question for you, because it's really tying in your service orientation with both the military and then coming into the real estate business, pulling people into that purpose and that people, and taking care of others. You're attracting agents, you're growing your team and now brokerage because of it, and you're pulling your clients into that purpose-driven mission, which I think is really cool. And it's what the show is all about, growing on purpose. So it's perfect. You have been a Homes for Heroes affiliate for over 10 years now. You and I have both been in this industry for an undisclosed amount of location that's longer than 10 years.
Yeah.
We've seen the ebbs and flows, the changes. You're going to see increased interest rates. You're going to see market tightening, sellers, buyers markets. There's always going to be fluctuations in our market. And I think you specializing not just in military relocations through Navy to Navy homes, but also in Homes for Heroes as well, has really helped you kind of weather all of those changes and obstacles along the way. Is that something you agree with?
Oh, absolutely. Certainly.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about how that's helped you kind of rise to the top of your industry and be so successful. A little bit about how affiliating with a good cause, having a why and a strong purpose, if you will, has helped you continue to grow to where you are today.
Sure. That's a really loaded question. Let me just kind of give you an example. As we started growing with Homes for Heroes and we built this team, so we have people that the word of mouth referral goes crazy. I mean, when we're standing on, Facebook or Instagram and we're holding that huge check and we're showing, and everybody's smiling, the agent's smiling, even though they're giving the money away. The people are smiling because they're in a home, they're getting extra money. It's not just the money. It's, again, the purpose and the why, as you're talking about. It's that relationship that happens. And that is absolutely infectious. So other people are like, man, I want an agent like that that'll take care of me. And they start telling people. So we have grown outside of the military market significantly. And I'll give you an example. There'll be, a street where military people live, but everybody, and there's a big brokerage sign here and a big brokerage sign here, and our sign goes up and comes down. And the neighbors come over and they're like, how did you do that? And they're just like, hey, we're just going with these folks. And it's amazing because they realize, hey, we are going to care for them just like they're one of our military members. We don't know how to not care for people, if that makes sense. So our affiliation with Homes for Heroes, our grounding in that mission and that why to help every hero, we treat everybody the same, and it has really, really, really helped our business. I mean, this year, well, actually the last couple of years, kind of our healthcare notch, to niche, if you will, to say, hey, the people that are there in the healthcare realm, we're not really going and advertising to those people, but people from, the nurses or the doctor's assistants or the med techs or the dental techs that say, what, you mean, I can benefit from this too? Spreading that word, they're actually spreading the word really fast right now. And then we see a huge uptake in our teachers as well. The teachers are like, wait a second, there's a program out there to help us get into the home. So as we just continue loving on the people that we work with and helping them, this word is starting to spread, and it's pretty exciting to be kind of at the helm of it. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. We call it the snowball effect, right? That exponential growth.
Exactly.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, if people want to learn more about you or Navy to Navy Homes, how can they get in touch or learn more?
Sure. The navy2navy.com is our website with a TO in there, like navy2navy.com. Or, Mario Gonzalez. I'm on all the social media channels for the most part. Don't look me up on TikTok. I'm not dancing or anything. So, but no, happy to help in any way, shape, or form we can.
Well, Mario, thank you so much for spending so much of your valuable time with us today, sharing, helping us raise the bar in this industry and helping others grow on purpose. I really appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. And thank you guys for what you do. I mean, we do the easy stuff. I mean, you guys continue to move this mission forward and helping other people all the time. Certainly appreciate it.
You give us far too much credit. It's without people like you that we wouldn't be able to achieve that mission to thank every hero. So thank you so much. For more about Homes for Heroes and how to grow your business on purpose, visit homesforheroes.com. And if you liked what you heard today, please be sure to like and follow the show for more upcoming episodes. We all have a purpose in life, and mine is to help others discover how they can grow personally and professionally by discovering theirs. So what's your purpose? If you want to join a future episode, or if you know somebody that we should be talking to, be sure to drop me a comment below and let me know. Thank you so much, Mario, again, and everybody else listening for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in to Grow on Purpose with Abby Waltz. Make sure you subscribe to the Homes for Heroes For Real YouTube channel for more great content to help real estate agents and mortgage lenders grow their business.